What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Man with No Plan podcast. This is your boy Dominic Villa, and today I have one of the most special guests that I could ever have on this. There is not enough words to say about this man in front of me. Truly looked up to him as a father figure growing up. I've been knowing him for at least the last 15 years. If there was somebody I could say that had a big impact on my life, it would definitely be the man in front of me. Well distinguished, well decorated. The man in front of me is Alonzo McAdoo, better known as, and what I'm going to be calling him throughout the podcast is Coach. And the reason why is because he was my coach in middle school. So just want to put that disclaimer out there. Coach, how you doing today, man?
Doing good. I know it's kind of warm outside, but still feeling great. It's nice cool here.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, Rogue Media got it all set up nice in here, man. So we shout out to Rogue Media. Coach, if you can, just kind of give us a little more introduction behind who you are.
All right. So Alonzo McAdoo, born and raised here in Waco, Texas, and just really
Just you can move it like right in front of you.
And just born and raised here in Waco, Texas, and grew up in this area. And a person that believes in the city of Waco and all areas of it. And even though it is growing and changing, I kind of embrace that because just like all things need to grow and need to change. And I'm a person that just happens to love education, love the impact of it because I know what impact it had on me in my life. So I'm just that, just right to the core, just a father of two and a husband. Been married 17 years, so
Wow.
yeah. So I guess in short, you can say I'm a person that like to be committed to things. So.
Sure, man. I don't think the people at home know just how much it means to me. Coach here has never listened to a podcast, never checked out a podcast. I texted him. I said, Coach, can you give me like an hour on my podcast? He didn't even say, what's that? Or like, what are you doing? He just said, all right, I'll be there. And like, if that ain't dedication to a student that I literally met this man 15 years ago. And then since then, I've been locked in and, I'm so grateful.
Ain't nothing but a word. I don't know what a podcast is. I've heard them, but I never listened to one and like, all right, what do we do? You know, so do I need to fill out something? Am I reading? We're just ready because anytime you say the word, let's go.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That means a lot of trust. Definitely a lot of belief in your boy. So I really appreciate it.
Yes,
I want to kind of just step in before we get into your journey. I kind of just want to like let the people know how you and I met. Okay. So for me, I remember walking into school first day of first day of seventh grade. And I see this man right here standing, towering over all the kids, looking buff as he is today. He's just like, no frills. You know what I mean? There's no BS with Coach here. And he definitely, made it very clear that he wasn't here to play. And in that, it just gained a lot of respect over time. Well, instantly almost, just because it was a sort of transparency and a sort of like cut to the chase type of deal. I can still remember everybody's reaction after we went to the locker room and after we went home. It was just like, man, like this ain't sixth grade. It ain't sixth grade no more. And because for those who don't know, in Waco Public Schools, it's seventh grade when you can start playing sports, at least football, stuff like that. So sixth grade, you kind of go through the motions of sixth grade, leaving out of elementary, and then seventh grade hits, and you're like, okay, time to suit up, get right to the field. And for most kids, that's the first time ever playing a organized sport. So you can imagine some kids being very thrown off when they see the man like this standing in front of them, letting them know we're about to get into work. So with that, I don't remember. Do some kids not have their coach as a football? I mean, do some kids not have their coach as a teacher?
Yeah.
Or were you everybody's?
No, I didn't have everyone.
Okay.
So a lot of them I only saw during the athletic period, and that was like my first time meeting them and seeing them. But like one of the things I think about when I first met y'all, because that was my first year too.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I was coming out of school. As soon as I closed the door of the classroom, I was looking like, okay, what happens next? What do we do? But that was a big moment to me. All I know is I had to surround myself and ground myself to those principles that this may be my first year, but this is y'all's 7th grade year. Like, you don't get that back.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
Let's make it the best. I need to learn like yesterday, so I can make sure I get the best for y'all.
For sure. Yeah. And then, you know, I never felt that. I didn't even know it was your first year.
That was it. I bell ring. Do I go in the room?
Who watches them? Who takes care of them? Yeah. No, that's even more of a testament because I had no idea that was your first year. But I was lucky enough to have you as a teacher. And that completely just altered the trajectory of my life because it was the mentorship through sport and then the mentorship through education. And in that I could necessarily like pull back some layers of the onion and like kind of get a better idea of who I'm working with. And that heightened my respect for you because I was like, okay, like I see him as a coach, he's stern, you know, very forward as a coach, but as a teacher, he's caring, you know what I mean, deeply understanding of the kids, whether they come from this background or that background. It doesn't make a difference. He's going to be there for you no matter what. And I'm even more thankful that I had that class with my best friends, with Angelo, my brother Angelo, Quentin, you know, these guys like that I was in there with, that we were in this environment together. And it made for a class that we did not mess around much because we knew the consequences very quickly. Nobody had to make a call. It was like, all right, coach say something, we hitting drills out there. And there was many days I hit drills. Yeah. I can firmly remember hitting the new gym up and then hitting them, was them gassers or was there like hit the lines? Yeah, line drill, yeah. So I remember a lot of days like that.
It seems like yesterday.
Yeah, it does, man. I remember many days like that, and you know, like the dope thing was that I had no shortage of good teachers at University Middle. Like I had you, and then I think it was a different year, but I had Miss Maxwell, and everybody who went to University Middle, y'all know about Miss Maxwell, the legend. Miss Morris, she was great. Miss Johnson, and it was a.
See, the thing is, like, y'all had their classes, but they were teaching me too.
Yeah.
Like, I was so fortunate to be around them because I was like, I'm not gonna come in here with this attitude. Oh, I gotta figure out. You know, I went to school. No, learn. They've been doing this. They already know, and they already know what's best for kids. And that whole attitude and vibe was like, this is their year. This is the kids' house. We just gotta make sure it's running good for them.
Yeah. And we felt it, man. Like, this is a topic I'll get into later, but I always refer to my middle school years as my best years. Maybe because, like, when you grow up in, like, a lower income neighborhood and, like, an environment like that, life gets more real in high school, whereas people will say, oh, college is my best years because they're living rent-free, everything's paid for. So I could see both ways. But for me, my middle school years were my best because I didn't worry about money. I was just living, man, with my best friends. Yeah, pizza day, and then Cinco de Mayo festivals, and then field day. You know what I mean? Like, it was great. So like, those days were some of the best, man. And before, you know, like, I think before the world hits, those are the days that you kind of get, especially with teachers like you, who make that whole environment safe and just like opening to the point where like, you be a kid. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, I still can't believe that was your first year teaching. So what made you want to go into teaching, first of all?
The same experiences you had, I had the same thing happen to me. Because my coach, his name was Coach Jacinto. I had him, and he really reached me in high school. I had some good middle school coaches. They were real down early, Coach Kittler and all them. But that coaching aspect was so different. That relationship was outside of the classroom, and it was just so different. You got to look at people differently, you know? And so mine was Coach Jacinto. He was the one that really stayed on me and was like, this is what you are going to do.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have an option. I can't. No, you ain't getting no option. And then it was another teacher, as far as to be a teacher, it was Jocelyn Bennett. I had her for history, and she was one of the first educators that allowed me to, I don't want to say co-teach, but like co-teach for to get up in the front and go over those points and have discussions and have debates about it. And when I learned, I was like, man, I could, you know. And then so Coach told me I was going to school. She told me that I was going to be a teacher or the president. I was like, well, I got to do that? You know what I mean? It clicked that it was an option. I just like, I'm going to school. I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. And so for me, growing up, a lot of my family, nobody had, been to college before, but my parents supported me. Just do your best every day. Just show up and get what you have. And then with teachers like that in the environment, like, dang, here we are. There's no reason for me not to succeed.
Yeah, definitely. And that's exactly how I felt, in my days too. Rewinding a little bit back, what was it like growing up for you? Because I know you grew up in South Waco, well, all over Waco. Because I know you went to Carver, you went to South Waco, right? How was it like that from day one? Just go over from family, when you were born, to all the schools.
All right, so I grew up in South Waco. At the time, it was called Robinson Garden Apartments. We grew up there. And from my perspective, it was a very loving household inside, but then you could also see outside of those walls that we had, there were other elements that were taking place, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that was like in the early, late 80s and early 90s. There were some other recreational things going around the neighborhood. And so my family sought to try to keep me out of that at a young age by just kind of, keeping me kind of sheltered and reading books and watching Martin and all that stuff. And then we ended up moving over to East Waco at the time once I left South Waco. And what's so key about me growing up in South Waco was that throughout the whole time, my father and mother were both always at the school. Like I would be sitting like me and you talking, you got the window here. My dad had just come up out of nowhere. Like, what is he's supposed to be at work or something? Yeah. What's he doing here? So then the whole school knew my dad. So go over to Carver. At the time it was a academy school, and I get there and it's what being the gifted and the learning experience was different. But again, in the home, we were focused. I was so busy with everything going on, I didn't have time for anything outside. Like there was a lot of stuff going on outside of my neighborhood. And because I had that relationship with my dad, he was like, we're gonna go this route. All right. I'm not thinking I got a choice, but I didn't ever have enough time to be a part of other things. So by the time it was time for me to choose which high school to go to, my dad went over and told me I was going to be a Trojan, and he made that decision. And I was like, I don't know anything about this. And what's so funny about it is that football, believe it or not, we went through 2 days. Oh, don't we? Went through 2 days, and like after week 1, I was like, I can't do this. It was a guy named Angelo. Man, Angelo was out there, and Raphael and Josh, they were on the line, and I thought I was strong in middle school until I met them, and they tossed me around. So I learned from them that I got to get for real about this. So I stopped. I didn't go into 2 days. But it was something about when I stepped on the campus and school started up, and I saw what was happening, and I saw these guys doing their thing. I was like, I want to be with them. You know what I mean? And so for me growing up, there was a lot of other factors around, but in the house, there was a whole different world. There was a lot of love involved in my household. So that's how it was for me.
Man, it's amazing how like similar our journeys are. I think your life is gonna be good when you have a middle school friend named Angelo.
That's the point.
You gotta have Angelo, man. Yeah. No, I definitely share that same experience. Like growing up South Waco, my mom was like, "You ain't gonna be outside," because she already knew the dangers of that, and we had plenty of family go down that route. And so my mom was like, "Here, I'm gonna buy you a computer," and in that computer, I learned how to do Photoshop. Everything that like I was doing back then, I had no idea it would translate to this. And so like it's so crazy, and then you just gotta be thankful for your parents had the foresight to be like, you know what, I care enough about you, and I'm aware enough to like, want you to be inside and want you to kind of like focus on this because I know the dangers of that. And
they can see it. And at the time, I just, for me, my brain ain't developed. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah.
But the whole time my dad's like mapping out, all right, now you go this way.
Yeah. And the same thing, I was like, I want to go outside. I want to be outside, And so like, and then growing up now, I'm so thankful that I had that ability and that privilege to be inside. Go to Carver, go to university, and you play sports. You just play all the sports at university or just football?
I just went with football. I did track a little bit, but just stuck with one area that I know I could get a scholarship on.
Who was your coach at university?
Coach Leroy Coleman.
Yeah,
legend.
OG. Rest in peace. Man, I'm so jealous that I did not get a chance to go through that lineage of university, man. That was actually my like. So I knew that they were building a new school when we were in middle school, or at least had plans to do a new high school. I am so thankful that my class was the last class to go to a university high school on Bagby. And then years after that, that's when we went to the one on Robinson. But walking through those hallways that one year, it just felt like I just felt so aligned with the history.
Yeah.
Could you see, like, you think about like LT walk through the doors, my parents, my family, you know what I mean? They all kind of been through the door. They all went here, and I it was just such a blessing to go to school there because it's just such a historic campus, even dating back to the 50s, you know what I mean? Like,
See, my mom graduated from there too. My mom, my aunts, and all of them, like you said, walking through the same doors, and they knew a lot of the same teachers.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, you got so-and-so? And I'm like, yeah, you still know her? Yeah. Yeah, it's such a historic school. I'm sad to see it go, but I understand that you need, a better environment. Yeah, it's constant. You know what I mean? Change is constant, so I understand. But was grateful to get that 1 year. It was a beautiful school. And now that when I drop down Bagby, I'm a little salty now. I was actually talking with some friends, and they talk about that feeling that you get. It's kind of like it's grieving a little bit, like the way you would like with the family member or a friend that passed. Like you kind of like are dealing with grief when it comes to like not having things anymore. Like we joke about like our schools being gone and our neighborhoods looking different, but that is like a form of grief. Like because when you pass by them, you can still see them bright as day. And for me, I like to go on Google Earth and date back. Yeah, like I showed you that one time, and like that's like a blast of the past. But so you do the university and you stand out in football, right?
Yeah.
So what position did you play?
Defensive end, tight end, and all special teams.
There you go.
Yeah.
Got an offer, right?
Yeah, I got an offer, Fort Hays State University. And I got one in Southwest. It was Southwest Texas at the time, but now it's Texas State. But got an offer there. They flew me out. My first plane ride. I went up there. I was like, what is this little place? And then it was something about it that just made me look at things differently. Because my goal when I went into it, or even with playing football, wasn't to go to the NFL. I had no desire to do that. But I knew I could use my skill to get something I want, which was a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I went there, I was like, nobody knows me here. And I can reshape myself to be what I want to be. I wanted to change who I was because at the time it was just all sports driven. I got tired of being put in that box of just athletics. Like I can think too. Like I can do that. And I knew if I went there was less of an emphasis on sports. Yeah, they did care, but the academics changed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because after my 3 to 4 years there, I saw my GPA going up. Dang. My athletic ability was going down. But, I fell in love and found a passion for learning and understand that I could take in knowledge and be able to share that. So that was something different for me. Yeah. Man,
that's cool to like turn that, to see like just turn that trigger on, you know what I mean? Like turn it up the knob and be like, hey, I want to dedicate my life to these studies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Football is cool, but this is what I came here for. You know what I mean?
I just wanted the degree.
Did you have any aspirations to play like beyond that level of college?
No, I never did. In fact, it was weird because in high school, if you came to my house in high school, in my room, you'll see all these letters from every university you can think of, Oklahoma, BYU,
Mm-hmm.
And I was just taking them and putting them up as decoration. I didn't even take the time to read them. Like, I didn't want to play. I just thought it was cool. But what I did know, I just wanted a scholarship and an opportunity to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Because my sight was just to get that degree and be able to just provide for my family one day. That was all I wanted to do.
Dang.
Just simple.
You had the vision back then.
Yeah, just keep it small.
Yeah.
To be up there. I had no desire to make the game-winning catch. I just want to do my job. Head on out.
Man. Sturdy young man at that age. Well, we're gonna dive more into Coach McAdoo's journey in college and beyond. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, give a shout out to some of the sponsors, and we'll be right back. Peace. What's up, y'all? This episode was brought to you by Helados Azteca. Find them on Franklin Avenue on Concord or right off of North Valley Mills in the shopping center next to Smalls. Also, this episode was brought to you by We Grow the Code. They handle marketing while you can handle business. All right, welcome back, y'all. Like I said, we're gonna dive back into the journey of Coach Mack. Before we get any further, I'm gonna ask Coach McAdoo his top three. I'm gonna ask him his top three movies and top three albums. Let's go, Coach. What do you think are your top three albums of all time?
Albums. Okay, so for me, I think each album or represents like a genre for me that I'm at the time. So, you know, the gym time, the athletic time, I'm going with the Migos, the
There you go.
Young Dolph. I'm just going to say it right there. I love them. I love that energy they bring, the realness they bring. So I ride with Migos and Dolph gym time. That's why I'm in there with them. And then I like my favorite album is a female artist too on the R&B side. It's Her.
Okay.
I like Her and the way it flows and all that little story with it.
Yeah.
I kind of, you know, love to see her. She's cool. And then Work Time though, that's like some jazz.
There you go.
One of my favorite songs is Blue Mosque. On this, that's all beats.
Yeah.
But it's Blue Mosque and it's one of my favorite jazz songs. So those three areas.
There you
so
go.
when I'm at the gym, that's my life. I'm upbeat. I'm going. And then at home, I'm just riding, just chill, and then work time, gotta have some jazz and get it going.
Yeah, man, that's a great wave right there. Like, that's really good. Like, you know what I mean?
Because you're not just one person. Not stuck here, but it's like it's different genres. There's a time and place for everything. Sometimes you gotta turn up, and then sometimes you chill.
Man, I'm right with you on that. Like, you gotta have a good groove. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what that your music reflects who you are. So like, it makes perfect sense. And then now 3 are your top movies.
All right. So, of course, this may be funny, but I'm going with, again, it kind of goes into 3 categories, but Lean on Me. That movie was so lit.
Yeah.
It wasn't funny, but I can laugh at it now because some of the things he did in that movie was,
Yeah.
But I get the point. Like, the overall message was care about the kids and just put the students first. That's ready to work. And so Lean on Me is one of my top ones. And then the second one is a throwback comedy. I love comedies. It's Coming to America.
Got it.
Classic. I can watch that.
Classic.
Every time. Like, nothing's going to stop me from watching it. And then my third, and this is tied, it's 2 of them really kind of tied together for 3, but it's more of an action movie. That's going to be, the Avengers Endgame, the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
I can watch that all the time. And then last, though, it has to be with, it's going to be Anchorman.
Man.
I love Will Ferrell. He's an idiot.
It's illegal in the United States. Yeah, man.
It's crazy.
Man, it is so funny that you mentioned Lean on Me because I just watched a review of it. Yeah. Not like it's like a funny review. Like, he cracks jokes at every scene. And that movie, man, it's so problematic. But it's like, you get it because I grew up watching that movie too. And then my thought process of high school was that school. Like, I thought university was gonna be East Side High. Man, I swear I thought so. But it's one of those conflicting things where you like it because the story means care for the kids, like you said. Yeah. Your heart should be with the kids. You know what I mean? And then, but then at the same time, some of his stuff that he did was just like, bro, what are you doing? You're locking every door.
Lock the doors.
What did he say when he came running? When they told him that the chief was there.
Yeah, he's like the enemy. Yeah, the enemy. Right here.
The enemy's here. Yeah, that's crazy.
Safe, man.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I was gonna make a Joe Clark reference earlier when we first started too. So, top 3 albums, you named those. Top 3 movies are extremely classic. It's like that whole lineup of Coming to America, Anchorman, Lean on Me. Like, that's just like a golden class of movies. But on Anchorman too, like it's just one of those classic movies that every line just stands out. And then Coming to America, did you watch the new one, the sequel?
Yeah.
It was right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like Anchorman 2 sequel.
Yeah. They missed it.
They
tried
chasing the bag. That's what happens when you chase a bag like that. Yep. And you try to cash in on nostalgia.
Do people come up?
It definitely don't always pan out. So I kind of want to get more into finishing up college. So finishing up college, you're like, okay, finish this, got the degree. What was your next move?
So, to be honest, once I graduated from college, that was big moment for me, and it didn't hit me until it was over.
Yeah.
And so, man, I start thinking, oof, that was a lot because. But as far as planning, I said, I'm never doing anything with school again. Like, no, it's not happening. I'm not going back to school. I'm not going to teach or anything like that. I'm just going to go after the dollars, so to speak. Yeah. And so me and my wife, we moved down to Fort Worth at the time, and I went into insurance doing that, and you see the money coming in, but I quickly realized that it was something about when that grass was getting cut in August. And then going to go see my cousin play for Everman at the time, doing the football camps. And then seeing the school setting, I was like, I'm getting the itch. I don't know. Because the conversations in the adult world was just centered around the money and what you can make. And I was like, that doesn't motivate me.
No.
Like, I found that out about myself more than anything, that the things that give me purpose are intrinsically motivated.
Yeah.
And so even my whole goals, like, I surpassed them just by even going to college and walking on the side. I didn't have that expectation for myself. So I was like, money, I don't care how many times, what all you need at Walmart? Like, how many times do you buy stuff at Walmart? Like, so that wasn't for me. So then went through an alternative research program. I teach Texas. Lined up, looked at that, and just went through the curriculum real quick because I was like, this is easy. I can read. Simple. And got offered a job in Fort Worth, but I said, before I go to Fort Worth and teach, let me try back home.
Yeah. Man.
I tried back home, and that's what led me to be there because I already got offered here, and I had to tell that principal, hey, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go back to Waco. He's like, what? We spent hours? Yeah, I'm going here.
Too bad.
Yeah, I got to go my neighborhood first. Yeah. And ever since then, I just believe in that loyalty to the district and to my neighborhood where I'm from. Because every time I see, Dominique, I'll tell you, even when I saw y'all, even to this day, every time I see those kids, I think even when I was at Carver or Chavez, I see, that's me. That's my group. That's where I would be at. So you got to give your best for it. And it's just intrinsically motivated.
Yeah. Man, it's a beautiful story, man. Like, there's so many things that could have changed differently. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you think about that a lot, but so many different so many different, like, ways you could have went about it. You know what I mean? You could have been like, I'm going to do Fort Worth. It's a new life. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
Go down that path, make the money, stake my trips, get my bonuses, and head out.
Man, I would have never, my life would have had a complete change. But yeah, man, I think that's just amazing how, like, this life lines up like that. So who did you have a personal contact at WIC that you, like, reached out to? Like, hey, like, are they hiring here, or did you just go on the website and look?
I just called University of the Middle.
I guess you could do it like that back in the day.
I just called them up, told them I applied, and never forget one of the coaches like, McAdoo? I was like, yes, sir. He was like, man, come on in. Come on back. And so at the time, I hadn't passed my certification test, so they were still waiting on that, and that was a lot of pressure. But they put their neck out for me again.
Yeah.
Like, so as soon as I got back, went and met with Coach Curl at the time. He was at university, and met with him and Rodney Smith and all those guys, and they were still just working as normal. And it's so funny because on the outside of education, my mind was thinking, oh, that's all it is. Yeah. That ain't nothing, man. They just having fun. And then you realize when you're in the role, like, you live here. Like, this is what you do. Like, and I look at those guys so different. Like, you've been doing this for how long? Monday through Sunday? Man. We're breaking down film late at night. I'm like, I just went middle school. I didn't know, we in it. And the level of commitment it took there, then I'm seeing what teachers do.
Yeah.
I even told my wife, it was like my first year, I was like, I don't know if this is for me. She said, you better keep on going. This is where you need to be. So just the plan, I never really had a plan, just always kept my nose to the ground and just worked hard. And now to be in a position I am, like, what happened? You know what I mean? Like, they gave you the key. Okay, we're going to try our best. And I just always believe in staying true to my values. I should have a goal. I don't. But I just believe my goal is to stay true to my values and have a close network of people, because in Waco, what's fortunate is there's so many people that have their heart and their mind and their family invested in this, and I just get to be around them.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's so many smart people around.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there's so many people that work hard and are committed to the community and buy into it and will do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to know what to do. That's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So,
I like the part about not having a plan, because you are at the Man with No Plan podcast. So
there it is.
I share that same sentiment. That's amazing. So you kind of get that feedback, or you kind of get that like perspective from people like Smitty, Coach Carroll, and then that kind of like that definitely fired you up to like.
Yeah, because it let me know when I saw them doing it. It let me know that it could be done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't impossible.
Yeah, yeah.
But reflect and don't be so quick to say, well, what are they doing, or how they think about what you need to do to adjust. And constantly be willing to change. Don't think you're perfect. Have a different attitude. So.
Yeah, man. That's major right there. Like that's a key right there. That's game right there. That's so you need to soak it up. That right there is worth soaking up. So, so you get there, University Middle. So was there a reason? Well, I know you call University Middle, but you reached out to University High teachers. Was there a reason that you went the middle school route over the high school route?
I think for me, coming right out of college at the time, I was like 23. I really wanted the time to be with kids that I believe will be more moldable.
Yeah.
A lot of times, once you get into high school, you kind of got yourself fixed where you want to go and kind of have a path and an idea.
Yeah.
But I believe in middle school, at the age for me, and I want to be in a position where I can help mold and try to inspire others to be on a path.
Yeah.
That's all. And traditionally, you would go through that route because high school, like right after the first year, the first 6 months, I could have went on to the high school, start doing that. But I was like, this is it right here. Seeing Ben Hughes, seeing man, let's go, Ray, and all those guys. I remember that whole group.
Man, no.
Y'all, it was like, man, there's a lot of talent down here.
Yeah.
And the way y'all just communicated, and then like when music come out, y'all have your own dance. I was like,
these
guys, man.
Yeah.
And I just believe y'all kept me young because I just hang out there.
Man, I think that tandem of 7th grade, my class, and the 8th grade, that class, man,
that was a group.
If we would have kept all them people all the way to high school,
that
would have been a talented squad for sure. Because we tied for our 8th grade city championship, and my best friend Tommy, he went to Carver. And we always talk about this all the time, like what actually happened. And I always say we won based on, it was a tie, but we won just based off the yardage. I'm always say that. Well, we got a medal, but no, like that 8th grade class was crazy, and we had a lot of talented people. So it was definitely under your leadership, and Coach Hill, Coach Fannin, yeah. Man, I bet that was an experience for you. Like your first years there, and you like create this connection with students, because a lot of people don't do that. Like, so when I was on my like journey to become a teacher, which is something I was gonna do before I went to marketing, and you know that well because you walked me through the whole thing. So like when you put me in that position to like learn or like be in a class, I seen the difference. Like when I went, it wasn't first day, it wasn't first week, it was like months in. And then, like, whoever I was observing at the time, it wasn't like Coach McAdoo class 2008. It wasn't like that. So, like, it's hard to understand the connection that Coach McAdoo had with his kids versus some of the classrooms that I sat in for days, because I took off a few days out the week and, like, sat in all day and was, like, there. And I was like, man, it's a difference. So, I think for your, like, first 2 years, like, to me on the outside looking in, it's like, man, like, how can it get better? You know what I mean? And I was a student, so I didn't know the inner workings, like working with staff, working with parents. Mm-hmm. But was that tough for you, like working on those components?
Yeah, it was a challenge because you're trying to navigate through this, but the time frame to get it done is so short.
Mm-hmm.
Because while you're sitting there trying to learn, you should be helping modeling for others to grow quick. So how do you do that? Because you're still trying to figure it out, and you don't have time to play around because at the same time, you have accountability that's there. You have parents that want the best for their kids every single day. So the excuse of, well, I'm trying to figure it out, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
My kid needs to learn yesterday. What are you talking about?
Yep.
But I didn't know. I didn't read. Well, you need to be reading. That's why even like in this role, going over there, I may have been a principal for 9 years, but what's that got to do with it? This is a new day.
Yep.
And I got to know the ins and outs of that school, be able to know it right off the back of my hand. And so I'm putting all those hours in now.
Dang.
Just live up there.
Yeah. Man, so for those that don't know, go ahead and announce your new move.
Yeah, I'm principal of University High School. It's an exciting time, but like I've shared with so many people, ask me, how do you feel? Like I have a lot of responsibility, more responsibility. All 1,700 souls, 1,800 souls that come in that building, I'm responsible for.
Yeah.
The adults that come through, I'm responsible for. Number one goal is to make sure everyone is safe.
Yeah.
Second goal, make sure all kids learning and leave better than they came in. That's it. And then
Yeah.
third goal overall, just make sure we can get them across the stage so they can have opportunity.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. And that always seemed to work for you. Like when I went and observed, like you had those, like you had the culture set to where it's like simple but effective. You know what I mean? There's like no frills, no like how can we decorate this? It's just straight like, all right, here's a simple. This is what we're gonna do. Just gonna keep it like that. Very Joe Clark-ish in that regard. That's the only regard that's similar. It's just like this is how we're gonna do it, straight to the point. But yeah, I mean, I think that just I don't know. It blows my mind how much you have been able to find success in Waco. You know what I mean? We often hear, especially my generation, and I'm sure you probably heard in your generation as well, like there's no way I could be successful here in Waco. Which I get it. There are not the most opportunities that there would be at other big cities, and different people will live different lives. But I think to discourage others from finding their own lane in Waco is not something we should do. And I think making a general claim saying that nothing good can come in Waco is a very negative statement, especially for people like you, people like me who like are able to find a way. You know what I mean?
Here we are.
Yeah.
So, podcasting. Like,
Podcasting. Yeah. So I think you are a testament, especially over, you know what I mean, like just over time, all the things that you have endured, you know, growing up, how you did. Well, I'm saying like just not just from growing up, but also like your journey into education. Because you could have just stayed as a teacher and been like, oh, this is it. You know what I mean? Which isn't a bad thing. There's a lot of value in that too. But like, I admire the journey even more that you want to continue to level up, continue to chase your goals, and then you're setting an example not just for me, but for your kids as well, for your two daughters. And ain't no telling what they're gonna achieve. Yeah. So I'm excited to see. And so now you're moving into the role of principal, and that comes with a lot, especially given the context of things that are happening these days. And so that's a tough journey on its own. Is the principal job something that you always kind of imagine? Well, at least I know you did principal for like middle schools, and you had a vice or assistant principal at Waco High. But like running the ship on your own, especially of a ship this magnitude, like has it something always been on your mind?
No. Not one bit, because again, that's why I'm so humble by this opportunity. I just always take it as an opportunity, and I just think about the people that were before us, and even how we grew up in Waco, hearing that phrase of there's no opportunities in Waco. Mm-hmm. There's no chances. Then here I am given one. What am I going to do? Just sit back and not. Every day I'm going to try to cherish that. And my mindset, I listen to Eric Thomas a lot, and he's talking about beast mode. But my mind, I have to be on it like a dog to a bone. I have to be aggressively appreciative. Because so many times we can get lost in the day-to-day and just take it for granted. Yeah. Why me? I'm tired, man. They on this and I'm tired, or I'm exhausted, and when I have to make sure I'm mindful of those words, because if I start saying I too much, then who am I talking about? Yeah. My verbiage should be more on what can I do to help? What are we doing? Where have I been to help this person? No. And I think that gives me more energy than steadily focusing on the I. So when I didn't never think this opportunity to be afforded to me. I'm extremely grateful, but I also know that I'm not doing it alone, because again, this whole process, I've been working with so many smart people. Yeah. At each school, people come in and work with me, and they all have the same values, right? Dominique, I can tell you, like, even when interviewing and finding people for my leadership team, there's so many people with all these degrees, and that's great, but what you really want to do is find people that have the same values. And I stole this from it was some visual or something that was given like a TED Talk, but one of the speakers was saying that when they hire, they focus on people that have the same values.
Yeah.
Because those values you can work through and overcome everything through. Because a lot of people are smart. It doesn't take a genius to do it.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to put in the hours and time, man, that's a dangerous team.
Yeah.
Because especially like when I think about the pandemic, when that happened, we were going into an unknown. People could have easily just checked out. No, bro, I'm not following. I'm good. No, those kids on their own. I got to take care of myself. But I was surrounded with so many people that had the same values. They was like, what can we do? I'm ready.
Yeah.
All right, Nate, I've been looking up this. We can do that. I'm like, yeah. What do you think's going to work? And that's what I always try to do is just surround my people with have those, because it goes to another saying. And I think it is. So when I'm at work, I view those people as my family, my friends. And I think about this quote that my coach used to always say, you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And so if you're hanging around people that always talk about education, and always focus on, guess what you're going to be doing?
Yeah.
Have y'all read so-and-so's book? This is great. Now it's like, it's just like, if you want to be a linebacker, if you want to be an offensive lineman, well, are you hanging with that group? Are you eating like that group? Are you moving like them?
Yeah.
And I seriously believe that's where we are with our young people right now, is that social media, a lot of things that, I view social media as like all the friends are connected with. Your phone is probably your best friend today. And the images that your phone is feeding you a lot of times are those positive images that are going to lead you in the direction you want. And sometimes, 90% of the time, I won't say 90, but 70% of the time, it may be things that aren't influencing you to take a different direction,
That's very true.
Yeah. So.
That's very true, definitely. Especially nowadays, man. There's just so much out there on social media, you know what I mean? There's so much that could, potentially knock us off our track.
Yeah.
So we're actually going to go off a little track right now. Take a small, quick commercial break. We're going to get right to it after we come back. Give me one moment. Welcome back to the Man With No Plan Pod. It's your boy Dominic, and we are almost finishing up on this episode of, actually episode 1. So this is the first episode. And so as we bring it home, I kind of want to just kind of touch a few more subjects with Coach. And I really kind of want to ask you, as somebody who follows you closely and been knowing you for a long time, something I've seen consistently with you is just working out and working on your body, working on your fitness. But also on the same side of that, I always see you diving into some type of study, whether it be like a book or listen to this motivational information or something that's expanding your brain and you're working out mentally and working out physically. And so what I basically want to get into is just kind of like your perspective on how stuff like that keeps you not just physically fit, but also mentally fit and your mental health.
Well, thank you for that. But for me, it's just a part of who I am. I believe I created myself. I'm a person of habits, and it just comes natural to as soon as I get up, this is where I need to be. And I start my day off that way so that I can think clearly and take care of my heart, keep my heart going. Because I really try to focus on that end for the conditioning side and not all that, man. I don't want to do all that.
Yeah.
But just want to take care of my heart, make sure I'm eating right. And because I want to be around for my family as long as I can. Be around for my friends, just be able to actually move and function to the best of my ability. Because my eating patterns aren't that good. I love Bush's, I ain't gonna lie. I love Bush, I love Chick-fil-A.
You and I are the same people.
I love chicken, period. And steak and all that. So, but I always try to make sure that I do also take care of my body and push it to be in a good position where I can do what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then as far as mental though, I really started embracing personal reading, listening to audiobooks. It's something about, for me, when I am working out, I let my mind go to other places. And so when you have that audiobook going, I'm killing two birds with one stone running, but my mind is somewhere listening to Will Smith's book. I heard it was a great slap of a book. But listen to it reads or just listen to other people's perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe a lot of times you can get so caught up in your own world, and I see this on Facebook a lot or whatever, to where Facebook or any social media, they'll have things leaked up to where they're just tied to the things that you like, your preference, right? The algorithm will figure out things to. So for me, reading books, it takes me out of my comfort zone, gets me somewhere to look at things differently. One of my favorite books is Educated by Tara Winstover. and she described how education impacted her in Idaho.
Dang.
Like, we often hear the stories about how it is growing up in urban and this. And her story was wild.
Yeah.
Like, she had 8 brothers and sisters, all of them together. 4 of them went up getting their doctorate, and 4 of them stayed on the farm, didn't it? Like, just 2 different paths. So, like, how did education impact them? Why the 4 this way? And they all looked at the world differently. Yeah. And I believe by staying on those paths and looking at things through a different lens and not just saying, well, if this ain't on my friends' like, or if this ain't in my circle, I don't like to do that. Because I believe I can learn something from each culture.
Yeah.
I believe I can embrace something positive from each culture, from each perspective. Because and that was one of the things that drew me to Kansas. It was so foreign to me. And I think I still have that type of idea of, like, no, everybody, like, talks down on Kansas. Or like, oh, this guy. But I went out there, those people are so peaceful. The one, when I was there, it was 2002 to 2007. It was so peaceful and just so flat and different. You know, you had all 4 seasons because there was nothing to stop it. There was nothing But it was just another world, and I think even to this day, that's something I try to embrace and I try to instill not only in my own children, but I try to embrace it in all kids. Just because you believe this is the way it needs to be, isn't the way it needs to be. Yeah. You know, people have different places and positions, and I love this quote too: where you sit is where you often stand. And just because I sit in this position, I might look at, well, this is the way it needs to be, but I need to embrace other ideas and hear them out, because it's more ways to screw in the light bulb. So
yeah,
that's it. Yeah, I try to stay on that, and I don't want, especially with the whole conditioning thing or working out, I don't want to be a person that's telling others, well, man, you got to make sure you do better, but I should be setting an example. I don't tell others. I make sure I just do it myself.
Yeah. Definitely. Set an example. For sure. Do that in more ways than one.
Yeah, it's easy to say it than do it. Because I can tell you, like, I share this with many of my family members. They're like, well, you just like to do that. If you think I like getting up at 5 just for fun and go up there and get my heart rate up to 155, no, but I know there's a need, and then I grow to enjoy it.
Yeah. But I want to ask you, do you think the focus on mental health has been more popular in these days than when you were younger?
Oh, most definitely. More popular and more accepted. I think it's something that people acknowledge as a major concern, instead of just saying, well, whatever. I don't believe that. People actually try to study and analyze people's experiences and their ability to reason, because the studies have shown that a person's cognitive ability may vary. And different events, stress on a person can alter a person's thinking. And I love this example. This is one of my dad used to always share. Like, don't ask me until I ate something, because I'm not gonna be able to respond. I'm a different person. Like, and we have Snicker commercials about it being hangry, you know. So I think there are outside factors that can impact a person's mental space. And especially believe that stress, or even environmental stressors, or just genetics or deficiencies, or however you want to say it, can impact a person's mental stability. Yeah,
for sure. Do you think knowing this type of stuff, like being more informed on mental health, mental illnesses, do you think that makes you a better principal?
Yeah, because it not only helps me to understand that one size fits all doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's good to have a one-size-fits-all plan to start out with, but you have to take each individual student, each individual parent conversation, each individual interaction with staff members to truly understand the needs for those kiddos.
Yeah.
You have to, because if not, then it's just like a doctor.
Yeah.
Right? If you're a physician, a family physician, you don't just say, well, all right, let's see, everybody between this time is just going to service them the same way. There's nothing wrong with you. Like, that would be
lose your license pretty quick.
Yeah. And the person may, I have somewhere in my elbow. Now I'm going to try something for your foot.
Yeah.
What? So as an educator, I then need to take into account, especially when we talk about learning, which is a cognitive process a lot of times. Not so much motor skills, but learning from that. Yeah, we need to embrace it, because that's where we're, that's what it's grounded on.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many like parts in motion. Like, it's just like a factory up there. You know what I mean? Like your brain is like your factory, and if parts are down, if if things are out of order, then you know what I mean. Like it will reflect in our daily life.
And I think it's easier for us to reflect on or accept the physical ailments, but mental. A lot of times people overshadow it, but you can't see what's going on. You have to embrace. You have to study. You have to build relationships. You have to see what was done, and most importantly, listen to the person that's speaking.
Yeah. One thing that I would like to see in the future is like more like awareness of mental health, mental illnesses in our Black and Brown communities. Mm-hmm. As South Waco, as you know, and other communities around Waco, is very diverse. Like, it's not just South Waco, oh, it's full of Mexican people, East Waco full of Black people. It's like everybody lives everywhere, you know what I mean? And these are conversations about our mental that we need to be having more dialogue over, and being more promoting of a therapist, be promoting of just any kind of like wellness help that we can get. And I think having somebody like you as a figure in a community that's just like, like you are a pinnacle of not only the educational world, but just like in the community in general, because you're from here. Like not being here doesn't discredit somebody, but being here gives them that much of a like alley-oop to reach people, you know what I mean? And for you, from Robinson Gardens all the way to here, like it's so many people that you met on your path that brings credibility to who you are. And so like when you are somebody who you are and you speak on these type of issues, like people listen, you know what I mean? And that's something I'm seeing in my daily life. But the thing is that we all have that platform. Like we all have the ability to speak on those things, regardless if we're a principal or if we're working at Wendy's or something like that. Well, no matter what the spectrum of employment is or age, you know what I mean, it's all something a conversation that we all should be having.
All should be having, because awareness is the first key.
Yeah.
Like keeping a close eye to it or just trying to look it off like that's not an issue, that's the number one thing that hurts.
Yeah.
And there are so many people that are going through things that if they had, because I can tell you growing up, that was frowned upon. Like, what?
Yeah.
You need what?
Yeah.
You need that quick thing.
Yeah.
So, but if we are in a position where we can actually encourage our family, our friends to actually seek out that assistance, it would be a different path for them.
Yeah. And then one thing too would be also being mindful of how we model it too. Like if you and I like going to therapy, like me going to therapy has like raised so many questions from other people. And so I think if we bring this into our daily life, I think it'll speak more volumes rather than just like constantly talk about it. You know what I mean? So I think that's a big component of it too. So I look forward just to like more over time, those type of conversations being had, you know what I mean? And those like awareness being raised. I think it'll be a good look for not just South Waco, but just communities across America.
Awareness and acceptance. You gotta understand it.
Yeah.
Because it's until you're in that position yourself.
Yeah.
You think, oh, that ain't. You can be right there in that same spot.
Yeah.
And there, how many times I don't know with you, but I've heard so many people say, on the outside, like I'm going great, and people just get checked, but then they just hit a wall.
Yeah.
And if you don't accept that, hey, maybe I need somebody to help guide me that's a professional.
Yeah.
Can change a lot of things for you.
Yeah, I'm sure you and I mean, especially you in an older generation, like 80s, 90s. I'm sure you knew so many friends and homeboys that were like, man, you are going through it, and like I can tell because like you can tell through their behavior, like they're showing out in class. You know what I mean? They like extra aggressive. And then I don't know if you listen to the Kendrick Lamar album, the new one, but he touched on those topics too about like having dad issues and how those play a part in a young man's life. So, I'm glad that there is more awareness and more like promotion of mental health. Because one thing that really stuck out for me when I was observing class is the story you told me about the young kid that had a troubled background at home, always kind of had behavioral issues because of that. And then one day, instead of sending them to ISS or dismissing them, you had to sit down with them, open room, open door policy in that room. And, he was like going through it, releasing all those emotions. But you brought him in, gave him a big hug. And then after that,
he improved, but I wish I could say it was just this story ended up great.
For sure.
He at least knew he had somebody there. It was a team of it. Like he said, I know this place some love.
Exactly.
So
like it ain't gonna be like I'm glad you brought that up because it's not always gonna be like all right, you go to therapy, your life gonna be better forever. You know what I mean? Like it ain't always gonna be that. But I think that like with somebody like you offering that space and just like holding that space open for him is something that can be done with our family members and our friends. And even if it ain't a sunny day after the thunderstorm, even if we just if it'll get there. You know what I mean? Slowly but surely.
It's like planting a seed. You don't know what the end result may be. Just leave that door open for them. Every day is an opportunity, because I think of so many people that wish they, like, we go as characters and we're playing these roles in this big theatrical scene called day-to-day, but sometimes people need to know you don't have to be perfect. Some people think, I gotta be this way. Or, I remember growing up, I gotta be tough, man. I'm gonna do it. Stop. You're a human.
Yeah, exactly.
You have emotions.
Exactly.
It's all right to be, you breathe just like everybody else. And once you let that guard down and truly accept the fact that you're just a human being trying to make it through the day, and embrace the fact that while you are just human, you have opportunities. Your today doesn't have to be your tomorrow. You gotta go after it.
That's where change happens right there.
That's it.
Yeah, man. Well, so tell me a little bit about your plan and future goals for you, like not just in the principal space, but just for your personal life as well.
In my personal life, it's real simple. I'm just gonna try to work hard to set an example for my 2 young girls. To be honest, I'm more excited about their future and the opportunities they have. I know right now there are a lot of people struggling, kind of recession type deal, and people kind of down, and there's been a lot of negative news out there. But one of the things I try to do is gravitate to the positivity and set the example for those two. And I just want to be a protector and guide for them. There's a lot, again, that intrinsic motivation. There is nothing more special to me than walking in that door and seeing my youngest, gonna get that is. That's all it's about. And it motivates me to go another day. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I like when I see the young men that are around us, they gonna be dads one day. And I want you to be proud of that. Be proud of the fact that you're a father and embrace that moment, because like I'm learning, like some people told me, they're not gonna be kids long, so get in there and get them hugs as many times as you can. So, future goals, my goals, again, fits the pocket. I don't have a plan. My goal is get up every day, grind, get your best, and then just look for change, keep evolving, find your next path, and just go with it.
That's what it's about.
I just want to keep learning. I want to be around people. For me, I want to be around smart people that are driven, positive, and just, like, again, no plan but values. Be around smart people. Embrace them. Learn from them. Just go down different paths that you're uncomfortable with. If you're in a comfortable path, then you're really not pushing yourself. So be somewhere uncomfortable that stresses you.
I heard uncomfortableness is the language of change. And man, that hit so hard. Like it was something that I really needed to see. I think we all need to see stuff like that. So, man, before we head out, we're about to wrap up. But I gotta say, give you your flowers, man. You've been holding Waco down. What year are you on? What's your year in education?
Going into
Year 15. Going into year 15, man. Educating waves of generations, man. Like it don't even. Like the amount of time for a man as young as you are, because you're still young, still in your young days, compared to most teachers, you know what I mean?
Not too much arthritis.
Well, knees still working here and there, but yeah, like this, to hold Waco down 15 years, man, and to be an impact on 15 different classes, you know what I mean? Like that's amazing, Coach. So I hope you get more flowers as you go. Every time I talk to somebody who went to school with me, they're always like, hey, like, you know what I mean? Like, you remember Coach McAdoo? Yeah, he was the best, or something like that. These are real things that I hear from people, and it's amazing to know that that was your first year, and that the people who went for your first year all the way up to now can say the same positive things about you, you know what I mean, as far as like making that change and making an impact. So, and also one point that I want to point out too is that like the percentage of black men in education, the percentage of young colored men in education is like slim to none. So you are already changing the mold, changing the landscape of education in Waco, and that's something that deserves an award on its own. So
I gotta say something too. Now, I know you've been giving my flowers, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm blessed to work with students like you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Because see, it's on the other end. Like a lot of people don't have to like that.
Yeah.
And someone like you that look at what you're doing now, inviting you, still talking to his teacher. Like what? Like you confuse me as an L7. Like no, that's you. And seeing and being a part of your process and seeing you grow like this, man, it only motivates me. And again, it's an intrinsic motivation to say, let's go do it.
Yeah.
Because the next person's out there, we got to keep building each other. And what I see with each one of those kids, Dominique, like you setting the example, man. There is other options. Like you, like that futuristic, like taking your own path, doing your thing, and then just boom, it's going up. Because like when I came in, like, how do you know all this shit? Like I don't know half the people. I've been here all my life, and you're just like, networking.
Appreciate it.
And so that's a skill set that a lot of people, nobody can teach. They can't get that from anywhere. And so you, again, inspiring. You may not know this, but you give me motivation and encourage me to keep doing what I'm doing because it is hard. It is tiresome. But yeah, here we are, man.
Yeah, man. Right here on the table, right here on the Man with No Plan pod, man. You got two men with families, man, with growing girls. We got 2 girl dads right here. Trying to break the mold. You know what I mean? Because like the precedent for us wasn't always there. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have a whole group of just men that are like us today. You know what I mean? Like we didn't have this. So, it is a blessing to be in the spaces that we are in today and to have made it through all what we've been through, you know what I mean, growing up inside Waco and just, fighting through the odds, you know what I mean? It's a big blessing. So it ain't something that I take lightly. And, your praise definitely means the world. So I'm excited. I hope to bring you back for part 2. Once you get a couple years, or even less than that at the new school, man, I'd love to touch base with you again. And because, when I was at University High, like a principal like you would have made. I mean, we had a great staff at that school. Nothing to discredit them, but somebody like you who has already had proven success across the board at different age levels. It would have made school even better. And my younger brother just graduated, so I wish he would have had like at least 1 year under you. But I look forward to the kids that come up after you. To have the same experience that I did. So I look forward to it, Coach. So I'll bring you back here soon, and I hope this was cool. So.
One text away, whatever you need.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. That was episode 1 of the Man with No Plan podcast, starring Coach McAdoo, Alonzo McAdoo. I never called him Alonzo. I never will. Never will. So I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I appreciate y'all exploring the unknown with your boy. Thank you. Hey, y'all. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate y'all checking out the episode. I look forward to bringing them out every week. Stay tuned to the Instagram for more updates on who else I bring on. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, A Man With No Plan Podcast. Peace.